Good afternoon, Datuk.
Afternoon.
Mr. Shankar Ram. To this special edition of this talk show we call Spot On this week. We focus on this amendment to the Sarawak Constitution, which Datuk tabled recently. It has stimulated a lot of interest among the people at large and also the oppositions alike. So let's start with this particular second limb, which is the resident. Can you explain to us, to our listeners and readers, why was the word Sarawak not included in the amendment?
Well, if you have to see to the federal constitution, then don't mention it based on Johorian, Sarawakian, Sabahan, Kelantani. The moment we put it in, I would say, we have discussed about it, it might contravene the federal constitution. So that's why we maintain resident, because in the federal constitution they also use resident.
So Dato', in your opinion, you tabled the law, the amendment, the bill. How confident are you that after this bill has been passed and will be gazetted soon, how confident are you that the so-called non-Sarawakian, including Leila and Putri, will not be able to contest in Sarawak?
To say it is really airtight lah. This is man-made law. Man-made law. To say that everything, there's no way that it cannot be contested or challenged, is, I think, I might be going overboard as time goes by. A lot of changes. Well, definitely it can be challenged. Anything can be challenged, but then the one that will determine at the end of the day is the court. The court will determine what is the intention of those that tabled the law, the government of the day at that time, why the amendment is being made. Anyone who is aggrieved, who feels that, I would say, it's been challenged, then they can refer the matter to court for
so you
a
mean
decision.
there is still some space where people still can challenge it?
Well, there is this saying, unless the law is God's law, then you cannot challenge. Anything that human being made, of course it can still be challenged. But as far as we are concerned, as we feel that it's already airtight. It's already airtight. That's why, in a way, we have tried to table it and then try to explain it in every way that we can. But then, of course, you cannot satisfy everybody. Some of them, they will look at it from a political angle. They don't look at it from the legal angle. They will politicize the thing. They will just take out probably only one limb and then say that there is still a flaw in the law. But then, as what I mentioned just now, at the end of the day, it's for the court to determine. But from myself, as well as the state government, the party that is ruling now, we feel that we have done the utmost that we can to make sure that only purely Sarawakians, true blue Sarawakians, those with Sarawak connection are eligible to be sitting in the State Assembly.
Mr. Shankar,
I think I'm correct.
As a senior lawyer, how do you think about this particular second limb that defines resident, whereby the opposition, as well as those who are blur about the amendment, questioning about there are flaws in this particular explanation and description of the word resident of Sarawak? Can you explain, some of these flaws?
You see, when it comes to constitution, the approach is entirely different. Drafting of constitution is a very delicate process. That's why you cannot just import the word Sarawakian, Johorian into it, So here actually, the courts, if you come to interpretation of constitution, the courts interpret it to make it workable, functionable, and the courts would interpret it to lead to a sensible intent, to carry out the intent of Dewan Undangan Negeri or Parliament. They cannot lead to an absurd conclusion or an anomaly, you see. So basically, the interpretation of a constitution, you must look at the intent of the drafters. Now, I want to point out something here that is very significant, okay? I would like you to visualize an 8, okay?
Yeah.
If you go all around the 8, there is no ending. The story of Leila and Putri is like that number 8. And later it will be Putri's daughter also, or Leila's mother also. You see, now you come down to the intent, and I will show you that this is where the ancestral link has to be shown.
Yes.
And I don't think the state has a wrong intention. It's only people who misconstrue it that cause a problem.
Yes.
The state has good intention. Everybody has a good intention of narrowing it. Now, you hear this, For the purpose of this article, a resident of the state shall. The word shall is mandatory. Okay? Born in the state, limb A, where his parents or either of them was also born
in the state.
You see the connection of the birth aspect of it. Second part, he is normally resident in the state. These are there are many Supreme Court, House of Lords decision how to define how are you connected to the state by being born in the state, residential part, Then though not born in the state, whose parents or either of them was born in the state. Can you see the connection?
Yes.
So when people raise the issue of Leila and Putri, the first thing that you cannot just go on an assumption that you count Leila out. Just look at Putri.
Yeah.
That's the failure. That's the failing. You must see whether the mother qualifies in the first place. Here, in their proposition already, there is already a wrong approach. It says Leila is, her parents are West Malaysian.
Yeah.
She was born in Sarawak. So where is her ancestral connection to Sarawak? Not there, right?
Yeah.
The moment the mother is out disqualified, the daughter is disqualified. So that's where they get into the circle that, because Putri is there. But that is wrong. So that approach is entirely wrong. Here, the word born and connection. Now, if you go further into it, Article 16.2, they provide this. You can be a member of ADUN. If you look at our Article 6.4 of the State Constitution, now, if you become an MP, a member of ADUN, definitely there is a right to qualify to become the CM.
Yes.
But can you become a CM through the process of naturalization? No. Article 6.4 says that even if you are naturalized to become a citizen, you cannot become a CM of Sarawak.
Yeah.
That's a unique part. That's why articles of constitution ought to be read in harmony, not read in isolation. Or you talk about Putri, but you disregard Leila.
Yeah.
It can be a vicious cycle, Later, what about Putri's daughter, Putri's son? But why you don't look at Leila's parents even for that matter? So they have taken a wrong approach completely. The intent of the state is very clear. But of course, we could always make it better because it comes to, definition of what is parent. You can take a very broad or narrow approach to narrow it down further. Here, the intent is to narrow it. It sounds very clear, the whole embodiment of it, the new amendment, the intent is to talk about biological parents,
And you're also talking about ancestry just now, right?
Ancestry. In there is already the link of ancestry. So you read it with Article 6.4 also.
Yeah.
a person, even if you become a member of ADUN, but if you are through the process of naturalization, you cannot be CM. So you cannot be a member unless you have that connection, that ancestral connection to Sarawak.
Yes. These are the two limbs, which is very important. If they are not, as what has been mentioned by my learned friend, if the parents are not Sarawakians or having that Sarawak connection or not having that ancestral relationship with Sarawak, you cannot be considered to be.
So meaning that these two limbs, they are not contradictory, right?
They are not contradictory. The second limb, the reason being, people are very mobile now. People are very mobile. A lot of them are working in. There are 50,000 Sarawakians in Johor now. You know, there are about 10, 20,000 in Perak and in Selangor. They have been there for 20, 30. They even have got Bengulu down there. But deep inside, there are Sarawakians. The parents, some of them married to West Malaysian, but then one of them might be a Sarawakian. What about the children? One day the children might want to be back here and might want to contest an election. Of course, they are eligible because they have got that Sarawak connection. Not just because they have been away for 20, 50 years, they cannot be considered to be eligible to contest. That is why we open that part. We are not going to stop only those who are born in Sarawak to Sarawakian. We still open. We are being fair to our future leaders. We might not be there anymore, but then of course we would want to see Sarawak being ruled by, managed, the laws that are being passed by those with Sarawak at heart, who has got Sarawak ancestry, who has got Sarawak connection.
It's not contradictory.
No, it is actually, constitutional provision. Again, you must read it harmoniously.
Yes.
So that you don't read it in such a way that it leads to absurdity, you see, or some kind of a warped conclusion, So actually you look at this, as I said, it's like an 8. Mother, daughter, father, son. It's like a vicious cycle. Today, Leila, she is not qualified. Putri doesn't qualify. So at the end of the day, you must have that ancestral link. And so it is all interconnected, like a number 8, mother to daughter, father to son. It's a vicious thing. So it is all embracing. And then you read Article 6.4 of the state constitution. You want to be a member of DUN. Of course, you want to be a member of DUN, you must have that right to be CM. So if you go through naturalization process, you're automatically out. You cannot be CM. So all that you read together, it is meant to protect Sarawakian, and that is what Datuk is talking about, to protect Sarawakian. We have that duty, we're the forefathers. So if we protect Sarawak for the sake of Sarawakians, this is so good, So that's why it should not be misinterpreted. By some quarters, they misread it. Come together, we can even make it better even, but don't misread it,
So Dato', come back to this spirit of the law and intent of the law. Basically, the state wants to make sure that Sarawak is governed and taken care by Sarawak for Sarawak interests. Why do we want it that way and not like Penang and whatever, when people can just stand in there and become the YBs? Well, what's the reason?
Well, there's no other better person who would know Sarawak than Sarawakians, or those who are well connected to Sarawak. That is, I would say, partly the reason why we want to be exclusive. Make sure that those who are sitting in our highest lawmaking body to be really those that are Sarawak at heart, very loyal to Sarawak, not those just somebody who comes in from other state to stay here for a few years, then contested in the state election and get elected.
So Dato', you are a GPS member, being vice president of PBB. is this the spirit and intent of this law is the spirit and intent of the law of GPS to safeguard Sarawak as well?
Exactly. If you are to see the slogan, the motto of the GPS, it's Sarawak first. Sarawak diutamakan. We have always been using that slogan, and we have always been telling the other opposition parties that they are not from here. From what we have been seeing the last few years, we have been seeing it is happening in the other state. Before it creeps into our shores down here, we better tighten up our constitution, make sure that this is not going to happen. Because people are very mobile now. There are so many West Malaysian working in Sarawak, in the oil and gas. There are so many in the police and teachers and all that. They might feel, oh, this is a nice country, a nice state. Settle down and then later
Coba
contest. I mean, if you are good in speeches, pandai or orator, you might get in.
So Datuk, you are a politician.
Yeah. I look at it from that angle.
You are basically a politician at heart.
Yes.
So some of this opposition basically opposed to it. Do you think they have this intention to bring some people from the other state to contest here?
Well, definitely I will be thinking along that line, of course. However, they try, when they oppose this bill, the way I see it, they want it to be open to outsiders. That's how I read it as a politician. Or else they would have object to it, because in spirit, in how it's being drafted, it is to stop outsiders, West Malaysian Sabahan, from contesting and sitting in our state assembly.
So are you saying that they are pretending to oppose?
Of course. From a politician point of view, I would say the moment you object, that means you are opening up our borders. That's how I look at DAP, PSB.
You mean PSB also? PSB is local-based party.
Well,
why do you think
they might be local-based party, but then we have seen them sitting together. They objected to the bill. I believe they are able to understand English very well. When you read those things, they would be able to understand it, the spirit of it.
So let's dig one more step into this. Are you saying that now PSB is also almost as equivalent to DAP in its approach?
In this context, in this amendment to this constitutional bill, I think they are together.
They are together.
They are together. Because they are the one that come up with all this Leila, Putri.
They are very creative in this.
Very, very creative. Just right after the Dewan Negeri, the cartoon is already out.
So come back to Datuk. Final analysis. With this amendment, there is no more number 8, right? There is no more number 8 in this law, right?
Number 8 has been mentioned now.
There's no more number 8. To you, is very, very clear and precise.
Exactly.
So how do we see this amendment to be applicable in the coming state election? Is that going to be able to be implemented? Or going to be
the process of how a bill become law, there is a process. Well, it has already been endorsed to amend a constitution, you'll need at least 2/3 majority. It has gone through that. Then there is this process of gazette, referral to the head of state. So that one will take its due course. And upon that, only then it can become.
How long will that be?
Well, it can be done in 1 month. Or it can be done even in 2 weeks. It depends on the government of the day. But I would love to see this bill be put to become law.
Mr. Shankar, one last word from you, sir. What do you think about the general overall of the bill?
I think it's good. You see, we can always think of better ways to even tighten it further. You see, language is so flexible. You know, it can be interpreted many ways. It can be interpreted in a mischievous way and confuse people also. So, but here the intent is very clear. The state government is very clear about confining it to Sarawak roots.
Yes.
So we mustn't miss that. So if anything also, those proponents of all this strange theory, come and challenge it in the court of
Yes.
law. You
Exactly.
challenge it there.
Yeah.
Then you talk. Don't talk outside the dune and confuse people. You take a challenge. Take a legal challenge.
Yeah.
If you really believe in, the strength of your Putri and Leila argument, come to court.
Yeah.
That's the best thing to do. We have a democratic country.
Yeah.
The judiciary is there. They will
But
decide.
personally, what do you think about this law?
This law?
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's always, you can always make it better. If there is a lot of suggestions, we have many ideas, we put our minds together, we can even tighten it.
Yeah.
You see, like I say, it's already okay.
Yeah.
But this law is okay by itself.
Yes, there's nothing wrong, you see.
For the moment, it's tight enough.